am Lyndon Yorke. I am Lyndon Yorke. I am Lyndon Yorke.
Where did this passion for sort of Heath Robinson type sailing vessels come from?
As a kid, I was always inspired by Heath Robinson and Emmett, just the weird, the wacky, the unusual, the eccentric. And for many years, when I was working, flying, I was overseas, and I just had all these various ideas in my head. And when I packed up flying in the early 2000s, I built myself a workshop, and then had this list of ideas and things I wanted to build. I love messing around on the river, so I was looking for something suitable to cruise up and down the river that would be completely different from anything anyone else has ever done. Also, if I might add, I found an old picture in an antique shop in Cookham that showed a sort of man-powered river machine that were made for the royal palaces, and these twin pontoon type floats propelled themselves around the palace lakes, and that was the main inspiration for the creation of Tritania. Most of the machines I have are tri-something because they originally started off as three-wheeled machines. So Tritania was a three-wheeled electric bath chair in its first life, and the other machines are adaptations of three-wheelers, so Tritania, Tritanic, and so on. Eccentric river machine hat, which also helps me get free drinks up and down the river during the season.
How long did it take you to convert this?
Everything I do is done over the winter months, so I start projects in the autumn and it's ready for use in the spring.
Is the umbrella at full speed, or is that it?
No, it's on a geared motor, so it rotates quite slowly. I did find that higher RPM, when it's windy on the river, the umbrella would just get sucked away, so it tends to like the slow speeds.
And what date does this machine go back to?
The actual Argus in itself is 1930s, an early form of invalid carriage in fact, but it was road legal. And the floats are 20th century.
And you've also got a music machine.
Yes, this port float is actually a wind-up gramophone. It does work. I can't reach it from here, but yeah, I can have period music as I'm going up and down the river.
And what about the hooter there?
Yeah, various warning devices, and a klaxon on the front here.
So they hear you coming.
Oh, they do, yes, yeah. It's very important they hear me coming, yeah. Yeah, one of the most important features is this device here, which enables passing boats to pass me drink. So I wind this out, they put a glass in it, and I wind it back in, and I have a drink, thanks to passing craft.
And how many miles of actually nautical miles have you travelled in this?
I don't know, but it's done quite a few hours, most seasons on the River Thames. Probably about 10 hours per season.
So what do people think of you when you pass them on your bath chair?
We get some very strange looks, but one of the most interesting stories, I was in Henley, and I was passing near the Red Lion Bank, and there was a chap, well-heeled chap, standing there in his blazer, and he looked at me and he said, well, what's the point? And I said, well, there's a point there and a point there. That's the point. And if he doesn't understand that, then that's his problem.
Tell me all about
Okay.
this sailing vessel.
All right, this river machine is called Voltanvoltaic. Voltanvoltaic, the basis of it are two long-range fuel tanks from a Hawker Hunter fighter aeroplane, a pair of them, and we built a platform between the two, and there's electric power by means of a Minn Kota electric outboard cut in half, mounted at the rear, and some bicycle handlebars at the front to steer it, a couple of Austin 7 seats, and the usual river safari paraphernalia like wind-up gramophone, wine cooler, and umbrella.
And this caused a very embarrassing moment for you, didn't it?
Yes, I only finished it the day before regatta, went to moor up at a friend's house overnight, which was fine, and then in the morning I jumped onto it to participate in the regatta, and it seemed to be a bit lower in the water. I thought, oh, it'll sort itself out, it'll be all right. So I opened up the throttle, going down the river in front of thousands of people on Regatta Saturday, and my backside began to get a bit wet, and it seemed to be going lower and lower in the water. And I thought, oh dear, what do I do now? There are boats all around, and I'm trying to pretend everything's quite normal as it's going lower and lower. And then I realised I was in serious trouble, so I flagged down a boat called Albatross, and Albatross came alongside, which you can see in the photograph, and they managed to tie me up to one side, got me to the side of the river where there was a little bit of shallow, and I was able to beach it and abandon it for the weekend. And that was the last time, and will be the last time, it will ever go in the water. Now, before we head off to the Henley Traditional Boat Festival, I must show you something rather special. This is the Busker Magic, my mechanical orchestra, originally made for the Henley Festival of Music and Arts.
And where did you get the idea from?
It just arrived in my head one night. It started off as one character and the rest evolved. And it's made out of old car windscreen wiper motors, bits of tram, aeroplane, wind-up gramophones and bicycles.
And if you were one of these pieces in the orchestra, what would you be waving around?
Oh, I think the drummer at the back there.
silence. Just fire away what it's like launching one of these Heath Robinson machines.
Right. Yeah, Tritania sits on its own specially homemade trailer, and it actually hasn't moved for about a year, so it seemed to be a bit stuck when we were pushing it in. But with a little bit of brute force and help from one or two other people, it eventually started sliding down the trailer, and eventually the rear end managed to float, and we pushed it off, and there it was in the water. They were to tie it up and then prepare the various bits and pieces before going off on its maiden voyage for this year.
It's working.
That is the lovely old 1924.